So we're going to start with the first question. So question 1, you write 38% as a decimal. So if you're converting percentages to decimals, you divide by 100. So I'm going to divide 38 by 100 and I'll get 0.38. That will start us off. What fraction of this shape is shaded? So you're just going to count, make sure that you count these. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 segments. And then all I'm going to do here is count the remainder here. So all the shaded sections. The shaded sections. So that's 10, 9 and 8. So that'll be 3 over 10. So I'm going to put that over here. And now we've got a list of numbers. From the list, write down the smallest number. If I look at them at the side, I can see it's 0.5. Some people struggle with this, especially when you've got loads of digits. So if you've got multiple digits, what I'd recommend is filling out those decimal places, because that will allow you to see more easily which one's the smallest. And then we've got a negative number question. So remember, on your number line, you've got -9 there, and it's -9 plus 5. So you've got to work, first of all, when you deal with negative numbers, you've got to work out whether you're going towards 0 or away from 0. Are you going that way or this way? And in this case, so we're going this way. So I just count forward 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'd be -8, -7, -6, -5, and then -4. So I didn't fit it in, but that will be -4. Okay, question 5. So solve P take away 2 equals 3. We're going to add P. We're going to add 2 to both sides, and then we'll get P equals 5. So P equals 5. Freddie adds labels to this diagram of a circle. We've got diameter, circumference, and center. So explain why one of the labels is wrong. It's going to be circumference is right, because that's the distance around a circle. Then we've got center, which is the origin of the circle. The center point of the circle is exactly what it says it is. And then diameter is the whole, is a point from one point of the circumference to another point on the circumference, passing through the center. And we can see it's not that, it's a radius. So you can say diameter is wrong because on the diagram it is a radius and doesn't touch 2 points on the circumference. Don't have much space there. Next one. So 7. Write down 3 different factors of 20. So our factors of 20, factors come in pairs. They make this number 20. So I'm just going to list the factors and we can pick any of them. So 1 and 20, because 1 times 20 equals 20. 2 times 10. Then we've got 4 times 5. And we can pick any of them. So just for the hell of it, let's pick 4, 5, and 20. Next, work out the sides of the angle marked X. So this is an angle around a point. You can see it's with 2 marks. So we need to demonstrate that we know why we can work out X. And we do this by stating the rule. So we'll do 50 plus X is equal to 360. And that is, and we'll put our reason in brackets because that's probably the easiest way. Angles around a point. Then we simply do 360 take away 50, and that is 310. So our answer will be 310 degrees. Next, a student says that the angle of 50 degrees. A student says that the angle of 50 degrees is an obtuse angle. The student is wrong. Explain why. So in this case, the student is wrong because 50 degrees is in the range 0 to 90 degrees, which means it is an acute angle. not obtuse. Okay. Next, so 9. Write down the coordinates of point B. So we look here. So our point B is here. And we always look at the x-axis first when we're looking at coordinates, and then our y-axis. So you can see here, B is in line with 5 on the x-axis, and then it's in line with 2 on the y-axis. So therefore our coordinate for B will be 5, 2, like that. And then I'll write that down in here. So 5, 2. Plot the point with coordinates 4, minus 2. So again, here we need to look for 4 on the x-axis. So 4 is there. And then we're looking for minus 2. So minus 2 will be here on the y-axis. Therefore, my point will be there. And then you've just got to make sure that you label it C. Write down the coordinates of the midpoint of AB. So when it says AB and it puts those two letters together, that means the length of that line that passes from one point to the other. So you can see this is the line that we're looking at here. The way that we can do this really elegantly is we can add the x coordinates of one letter, I'll show you, and then divide them by 2, and then add the y coordinates and divide them by 2. So just to express that algebraically. So x1 plus x2 all over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 all over 2. And then in this case, we've got minus 3 is our x coordinate, and then we've got 4 as our y coordinate. So minus 3 plus 5 over 2, and then our y coordinate is 4 plus 2, so 4 plus 2 over 2, and then when we evaluate that, we'll get positive 2 when you add the minus 3 and 5, and then you divide that by 2, which is 1, and 4 plus 2 is 6, and then you divide that by 2, and that will be 3. So you get 1, 3. Then you've got to draw the line with equation y equals minus 4. So again, we're going to look at our y-axis. So our y-axis is going in that direction, vertically. And we're looking for y equals minus 4. So I've got to draw a straight line that passes like that through every point where minus 4 is a value. So you can see here is minus 4, here is minus 4, here is minus 4, and so on. So that's our line y equals minus 4. Next, so Max sees this special offer in a shop. Buy one large plate and get one small plate for half the normal price. So the normal price of a large plate is £2. The normal price of a small plate is 80p. Max wants to buy 6 large plates and 6 small plates using this offer. He has £15. Has Max got enough money? You must show how to get your answer. So remember, we are looking to eventually evaluate this question. Has Max got enough money? So you need to say yes or no. He wants to buy 6 large plates. So we take that information there, 6 large plates, and then we're multiplying by 2. We've got to show that. 6 times 2 is £12. Now, we're told buy one large plate and get one small plate for half the normal price. So because we've got 6:6 ratio here, got a 1:1 ratio, you can pretty much halve the price of a normal plate. So 80p divided by 2 is 40p. Once we do that, we multiply by 6. So 40p times 6. 4 times 6 is 24. Add the 0 on, you get 240p or £2.40. Then we just add them together. So now we've got our full amount. So we've got £12 for large plates, and we add it to £2.40 for small plates, and we get £14.40. And once we do that, we know that Max has enough money. So I've answered that bit of the question, because £14.40. It's good to have a nice inequality that is less than £15, and that answers that question. So question 11, a total of 700 tickets were on sale for a football match. 452 of the tickets were sold. How many tickets were not sold? So this is a simple subtraction. Again, we can use column method for that. So we're going to do 700, take away 452. In this case, we can't borrow from zeros. So we need to borrow from the hundreds column, lend down. So that becomes 10, then it becomes 9, then it becomes 10 over in the units column. So 10 take away 2 is 8, 9 take away 5 is 4, 6 take away 4 is 2. So you get 248 tickets. For a different football match, 297 tickets were sold for £9.50 each. 399 tickets were sold for £19.50 each. You work out an estimate for the total amount of money paid for these tickets. You must show all your workings. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to use this little squiggly indicator to round up my answers. So I've got 297 is approximately, so this squiggly equal sign stands for approximately. It's approximately 300. And then we've got 950, that's approximately £10. And here I'm just rounding to the nearest one sig fig, in all cases, one significant figure. I've got 399, that's approximately 400. And then I've got £19.50 is approximately £20. You can see in every case I'm rounding up. Then I just need to multiply. So I've got 300 and I've got to times by the price. So I've got this times that. So 300 multiplied by 10 equals 3,000. And then I've got 400 multiplied by 20, and that'll be 8,000. And then all I need to do is do 3,000 plus 8,000, because it says here, work out an estimate for the total amount of money paid for these tickets. So I've got to add them together. So I've got 0, 0, 0, and I've got 11. So I've got £11,000. Is your answer to part B an underestimate or an overestimate? So am I undershooting or am I overshooting? In this case, because I've rounded up in every case and it's just multiplying, I can say it is an overestimate because all values have been rounded up. Okay? So number 12. Here are 6 numbers: 13, 5, 4, 9, 3, and 8. And it says work out the mean. So we work out the mean by taking each value, adding them together, taking the sum of the values and dividing by the total number of points or values. So you've got 13 plus 5 plus 4 plus 9 plus 3 plus 8. So I do think it's good to show it. So I'm just going to write a line. So 13 plus 5 plus 4 plus 9 plus 3 plus 8. And I'm going to put it over the number of values, which is 6. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to divide it by 6. Hopefully that divides nicely. So you've got 13 plus 5 is 18, plus 4 is 22, plus 9 is 31, plus 3 is 34, plus 8 is 42. You get 42. 42 divided by 6. So 42 over 6 is 7. So it's going to be 7 is the mean. Simplify 15a over 3. So in this case, I can just divide 15 by 3 and I get 5a. Simplify 19 plus 5b plus 4c, take away 7b plus c. I make sure that I bring together my like terms. So I've got these two b's that I can group together. I'm going to minus 7. And I've got c's as well. So I've just got to be careful with this. So 19 is fine. I'll just leave that as is. I'll show it just fully so you can see what I'm doing. So that, take away 7b, and then I've got plus 4c plus c, which is the same as 1c. yeah, so 1c. So 5b take away 7b is minus 2b. So I've added those together. Now I just need to add my c terms. So I've got plus 4c plus 1c, which is plus 5c. Now factorize 8d take away 6. So in this case, I've just got to look at both of my terms. I've got 8d and I've got minus 6, or 6 in this case. And I just need to think, what's a common factor of both 8d and 6? So a good idea is just to think about your factors of each of these. So you've got 8 and 6. You've got 1 and 8, and you've got 2 and 4. 1 and 6, and then you've got 2 and 3. So in this case, you can see our common factor, or highest common factor, is 2. So I can factor that out. And I get 2 4d take away 3. Now what I can always do, just to check that, is multiply out. So you've got 4d take away 3. I can multiply that. So 2 times 4d is 8d. So that's fine. And then 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. If I multiply out or expand after I factorized and I get the same answer, then I'm probably along the right lines. Last week, 73% of the tickets sold at a cinema were adult tickets. What percentage of the tickets sold were not adult tickets? So here's subtraction. So you know that the full amount is 100%. So you're doing 100 take away 73. And just to show you all the workings, I've got to do some borrowing here, lending down columns. And then I've got 10 take away 3, which is 7. And I've got 9 take away 7, which is 2. So I've got 27%. You've got to make sure that you look at this word here, because it could say fraction as well. So just bear that in mind. Some people watched a film at the cinema. The number of adults to the number of children was 2 to 5. So you can see this ratio here. What fraction of these people were adults? So when I've got a ratio, it expresses all the parts that are there. So if I've got a ratio of 2 to 5, then the total number of parts is 2 plus 5, which is 7. So 2 plus 5 equals 7. Now that becomes the denominator of your fraction. So that's going to be 7 at the bottom. And then what fraction of the people were adults? So because its number of adults to the number of children is 2 to 5, this 2 is relevant, not the 5. So I've got to put 2 on top, so it should be 2 over 7. Now we've got another extension to the question. So on Friday, 500 people watched a film at the cinema. 70 of those people were children. 70% of those people were children. On Saturday, 720 people watched the film at the cinema. 5/8 of those people were children. Kasim thinks more children watched the film on Friday than on Saturday. Is Kasim correct? You must show how you get your answer. So remember, we're trying to evaluate this at the very end. So we've got 500 people watching the film at the cinema on the Friday. So I'm going to write out Friday so I don't get confused. So here's Friday and here's Saturday. So on Friday, it says 500 people watched a film at the cinema. 70% of these people were children. So 70%, we're trying to work out 70% of 500 here. And then on Saturday, we're trying to work out 5/8 of 720. So 70% of 500, there's various ways you can work this out, but I like to do 70 over 100 times 500 over 1. I like to express it as a fraction. Then I can do some cancelling down. So I've got 100 can be cancelled, cross-cancelled here with 500. And then, so I get 70 over 1 times 5 over 1. 70 times 5 is 350 over 1. So therefore on Friday there's 350 people. And then on Saturday I've got 5/8 of 720. Again, I can do it the same way actually. I could do 5/8 times 720 over 1, but just to be a bit different, what we can do is we can divide 720 by 8 and then times by 5. So 720 divided by 8. So divide by the denominator, multiply by the numerator. So 720 divided by 8 is 90, and then 90 times 5 is 450. So you've got 450 children. And then he says, Kasim thinks more children watch the film on Friday than on Saturday. We can see 350 is less than 450, so Kasim's wrong. So we need to make sure that we state this. Kasim is wrong because 450 is more than 350. Nice to use inequality again. So Kasim is wrong. Now we're going to do 15. So work out 6 over 7 times 5 over 12. Here, and it says give your answer as a fraction in its simplest form, so we might have to cancel down at the end. I'm just going to write that out. I can do some cross cancelling here. I can't cancel down the fractions because I can't do, like, 6 and 7 share no common factors, and then 5 and 12 don't share any common factors apart from 1. So I can't cancel down the fractions, but I can cross cancel. So I can cancel out 12 and 6 like that. So I can divide them both by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, 12 divided by 6 is 2, and then I can multiply. So I get 1 times 5 is 5, and then 7 times 2 is 14. Now I could also do 6 times 5 is 30, and then 7 times 12 is 84. And then from there I could cancel it down to 5 over 14 by dividing by 6. But it's a bit easier, as you can see with this, to cross cancel. So my answer is 5 over 14. Okay, 16. So here's a list of ingredients for making 20 biscuits. So you got your ingredients for 20 biscuits. You've got 150 grams of butter, 100 grams of sugar, 250 grams of flour. Harry wants to make 60 biscuits. How much flour does Harry need? This makes use of the idea of proportion. So if you know 20 biscuits, you can find the multiplier that gets you to 60 biscuits and then multiply each quantity by that same multiplier. So 60 divided by 20 is 3 because it's 3 times as much. So therefore you need 150 times 3, you need 100 times 3, and you need 250 times 3. And it's asking about flour, so make sure that you give the one that's actually needed. So that will be this one. So 250 times 3 is 750. So the answer is 750 grams of flour. Okay, next. So there are 200 counters in the bag. 38 counters are red, 52 counters are blue. The rest of the counters are yellow and green. There are the same number of yellow counters as green counters. What percentage of the counters in the bag are yellow? What I'm going to do is make some fractions. So I've got 200. I can say 38 are red. I'm going to label it R. Then I know that 52 over 200 are blue. And then I know that the same amount, because it says the same number of yellow counters are green and yellow. So here. So what I can do is, again, I'm going to say green and then yellow. I'm going to give it a letter. So I'm going to call it X and X because it's the same amount. I'm going to put them over 200 like that. Now, obviously 38 plus 52 plus X needs to equal 200. So I'm just going to write that out because I need to determine the total number of yellow counters. So if I find X, basically, I'll get my answer for the number of counters, and then I can convert it into a percentage. I've got 38 plus 52 plus X equals 200. 38 plus 52 is 90 plus X, which is 2X equals 200. Now, I'm just going to take away 90 from both sides, so I get 2X equals 110, which means X equals 55. So once we get that 55, now we need to turn this into a percentage. It makes sense to cancel it down, or actually, in this case, because we know 200 relates to 100, we can divide both of these by 2. So if you take 55 divided by 2, so 55 divided by 2, it goes twice into 5, so you've got 2 there, you've got 1 there, so 2 into 15 goes 7 times. We're going to erase some zeros. We've got a remainder of 1, and then 2 into 10 goes 5 times. So my answer will be 27.5%. Number 18. So Naomi has B bags of apples and C crates of apples. There are 5 apples in each bag. There are 28 apples in each crate. Naomi has a total of T apples. Write a formula for T in terms of B and C. So first of all, let's model each part. So we've got 5 apples in each bag, and there's B bags. So to find the total number of apples in the bag, you do 5B, or 5 times B. And then we're adding them together because you've got one set of bags. There's no need to multiply or anything like that. So we're adding them, plus 28 apples in each crate. So 28 apples and C number of crates. So 28 times C will give you the total number of apples in the crates in total. So that's 28C. And Naomi has a total of T apples. So therefore you just put T in front because that's the total. So that's our answer. I'll put it over there. Now let's look at 19. Here are the first 5 terms of an arithmetic sequence. So that's a sequence that goes up in or down in a constant difference. So we've got -5, 3, 11, 19. Now what we do first is we think about the common difference. So you can take the first term away from the second term. So 3 minus -5, or if it's easier, 11 take away 3, and you get 8. So that will be our common difference. So our common difference is 8. The first part of our arithmetic sequence will be 8n, and then it will be plus or minus, we're not sure yet. But it seems to be minus, because we're starting with a negative term here. The way to do this, you could do the first term, or A as we call it, minus D, or the common difference, and that will give you the answer to your second part of your equation for the sequence, or the expression for your sequence. So you've got 8n, and then plus, we've got A, which is our first term. So our first term is, so this one here, that's our first term. So it's -5, and then take away D. So take away D is 8. If we do that, we get -13. So we get 8n plus -13, and that's our answer. So 8n, and because you got plus -13, you just write it as -13 like that. So 8n minus 13. Next, work out 8.46 divided by 0.15. The important part of this question is getting this to be a whole number, so your divisor, the one that you're dividing by. Because if I were to write that as a bus stop, it looks horrible. It's possible to do, but it's a bit of effort. So I want to make it as easy as possible. I'm going to multiply this by 100 to make it a whole number. But anything I do to 1, to my divisor, I need to do to this, so 8.46. So I've got to times that by 100 as well to keep things in proportion. So it will be the same as 846 divided by 15. This I've got to do carefully. If you've got a harder division as well, and you've got 2-digit divisors, it's a good idea to write out your multiples. So you've got 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. Okay, that will sort of make it easier for you. So 15 into 8 doesn't go. Then 15 into 84. So 15 goes into 84, so 5 times. And then I've got a remainder of 9. Then 15 into 96 goes 6 times. So I've got a remainder of 6. 6 over 15. So I've got 56 and 6 over 15. This I can cancel down, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to divide both of them by 3. So I get 56 and 2 fifths. You can also express that as a decimal. So you got 56.4. Now we've got a subtraction. This one's a little challenging because you've got 3/8 is less than a half. So what I like to do here is I like to borrow from the whole number. So I've got 7 3/8, take away 2 1/2. I'm going to borrow from this whole, and that becomes 6. And then I'm going to add 8 to the top because that's the denominator of our fraction. So I'm going to replace that with 11/8. Now, after I've done that, I can just do 6 take away 2, which is 4. So 6 take away 2 equals 4. So I've done my whole numbers. Now I'm going to do 11/8 take away a half. Here I need a lowest common factor. No, lowest common multiple. So I've got 2 and 8 on my denominator, or lowest common denominator they often say. So that and that, I need to make that the same. In this case, I can times that by 4. So I get 11/8, take away, I'm going to put the 8 on the bottom. I'm timesing that by both of them by 4. And I get 4/8. So 11 take away 4 is 7. And the 8 remains the same. So when I put that together, I've got 4 plus 7/8, which is the same as 4 and 7/8. Okay. Now, a cube has a total surface area of 150 centimeters squared. Work out the volume of this cube. So the surface area is found by finding the area of each individual face and times it by 6 because there's 6 faces on the cube. So what I'm going to do first is do 150 centimeters squared divided by 6. Now 150 divided by 6 is 25 centimeters squared. So that's the size of one face. Now 25 squared, just to give you a visual demonstration, that's 25 centimeters squared is one face. So, and because it's square, I can square root it. So the square root of 25 equals 5 centimeters. That means that the dimension on my cube is 5 by 5 by 5. So 5 by 5 by 5. And to work out the volume of the cube, which is what we need, we simply do 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125. So we get 125 centimeters cubed as our volume. Okay, so question 3, we're looking at a frequency polygon. We've got rainfall on one column and we've got frequency on the other. So we've got ranges here and then we've got frequency here. So what we do is we find the midpoint of each range. So for rainfall, it'd be 2.5, it'd be 7.5, 12.5, 17.5, and then we've got 22.5 there. And then our frequencies we can plot out. So we've got 2.5 will be here. Our frequency is 8, so that will be here. We've got 2.5 like that. And then we've got 7.5 there. So 7.5, we've got 24. That will be plotted here. Then we've got 13 on 12.5. So 12.5 will be here. It's the midpoint of our range. We've got 11. Then we have, I read that wrong, 13, sorry. So that'll be 13. And then we've got 11 down here. And we have 4 at 22. So we've got 22.5, 17.5, and we have 4 like that. And then what we need to do is we need a line that joins them all, like that, and like that. And we've done it. Next, so complete, here we've got a Venn diagram and it has A, odd numbers, and then B, so you've got different sets here. You've got everything within this Venn diagram is expressed as E, so you've got this universal set thing. And we've got odd numbers and square numbers. Notice we haven't got even numbers. So there might be some exceptions that go outside of sets A and B. We have, so odd numbers, we're just going to put them out. So we've got odds. Let's just look at our squares. So here's a square number. We've got 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. We've got 4, and we've also got 1 as well. So those are all square numbers. But some of them are odd too. So 1 and 9 are odd. So we need to make sure that we put 1 and 9 in the center, because they share both the properties of being odd and square. So you've got 1 and you've got 9 there. You've got 4, which is an even number, so it's not an odd number. So that's distinctly in B. And then we've got odd numbers generally. So you've got 3, 5, 7. And then the rest of them are neither odd nor square. So we need to place them outside. So we're just going to do that. We've got 2, 6, and 8, and 10, which have neither of those properties. So good idea, because they're numbers 1 to 10 is count them. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. A number is chosen at random from the universal set. Find the probability that this number is in the set. And then you've got a B and you've got a complement sign. So this, you can see this little apostrophe like thing. So basically, a way to think about that is if you've got two sets, you've got A and B. Now, if I said set B, then I'd shade in that. So it's everything that's not this. So just to illustrate in another color, the complement of B would be everything that's not what I've shaded. So it'd be this. So I'm excluding that region. It's chosen from the universal set, so it's just anywhere in this Venn diagram, but it's not in this set. So I have basically, just to give you an example, so it's basically everything in these regions here. All those numbers I'm going to put in there. So I've got 3, I'll put them in order. So I've got 2, 2, let me just zoom out because that's a bit easier. 2, 3, 5, 7, 6, 8, and then 10. And that will be correct, I think, as far as I'm aware. So just to make that clear, so if you've got 2, you're looking at those regions with the blue in it. So 2, 6, 8, 10, you've got 3, 5, and 7. Now in total, this is 7 of the 10 values, because you've got 1 to 10. So if you want to have a probability, you can express that as either as a fraction, a decimal, or a percentage. So in this case, I'm just going to represent it as a fraction, because it will be 7 over 10, because you've got 7 numbers that are in set B, complement B. So 7 over 10 is my answer. Next, we've got scatter diagram. So scatter graph shows information about the ages and weights of some babies. So we're trying to look for a trend. So we've got weights, in kg on the y-axis, and then we've got age in months on the x-axis. So it says describe the relationship between the age and the weight of the babies. So I think it's a good idea to always do, you can see that if it's trending up, and you can see there's a strong correlation because the points are relatively close together. There's a strong relationship between weight and age. As you get older, your weight goes up. So you just need to state this relationship. So as babies age, their weight increases. Okay. Now you've got another baby has a weight of 5.8 kilograms. Using the scatter graph, find an estimate for the age of the baby. The way that we do that is think about a line of best fit. So I'm just going to draw a line that passes through or as close to as many points as possible. They usually accept a range of answers for this. We can ignore this point because I think there's a bit of that's an outlier essentially. If we're looking for a weight of 5.8, we're looking at the y-axis. So 5.8 is there roughly, and then I'm going to draw a straight line down. So it's about, I'm going to say about 4 months, because it's an estimate. It will accept a range of values, so you don't need to be completely right. So you can see it's for 2 months. And that's probably for drawing your line of best fit and drawing the lines that link them together. So my beautiful assistant informs me that this range is acceptable. So between 2.5 to 4.5. So don't worry if your line's slightly askew, you probably get it. The price of a holiday increases by 20%. This 20% increase adds 240 to the price of the holiday. Work out the price of the holiday before the increase. So we don't know the price of the holiday, but we know that a 20% increase amounts to 240 pounds. So if I know 20% is equal to 240 pounds, then, well, 10% would be 120, and then I can find 100%. So 100% is 120 times 10, so I get 1,200. 27. The diagram shows a solid cylinder on a horizontal floor. The cylinder has a volume of 1,200 centimeters cubed, a height of 40 centimeters. The cylinder exerts a force of 19 newtons on the floor. Work out the pressure on the floor due to the cylinder. So we've got volume here, and we've got the rough dimensions of this. So we've got a height of 40 centimeters, but we don't have the area because we need to find the area. You can see they've been sort of helpful here. They've done pressure equals force divided by area. So what we need to do is, first of all, we'll concentrate on that area side. So we have the volume. I'll do it over here just to make it neater. So we've got 1,200 centimeters cubed. We know the height is 40 centimeters. So if I were to divide this by 40, I can get the area of, because we know the volume is this face, so because it's a prism cylinder, times the height. So we know that's 40, but we don't know what this bit is. So 1,200 centimeters cubed divided by 40 will give us the area of the bottom face, because it's standing on that floor. So 1,200 divided by 40, take off those, 120 divided by 4 is 30. So 30 centimeters squared is our area. Once we've done that, we've got the 90 newtons already. So we've got force, so force equals 90. And then I just need to substitute it into our equation. So we've got pressure, which is measured in pascals usually. So we've got 90 newtons divided by 30 centimeters squared will give us 3. But we can call it 3 newtons per centimeter squared, as you can see here. So 3 newtons per centimeter squared. So use these graphs to solve the simultaneous equation. So it's a graphical solution. You've got 2 minus 2y equals x. We've got 2y equals 3x, take away 22. And you can see on my graph already they've been plotted. So all we need to do is we need to find the point where these two lines intersect. So here, and then define the coordinates. So they appear to be going up in 1. So you've got an x coordinate of 6, and then you've got a y coordinate of -2. So that'll be our answer. We've got 2. Oh, wait. Got to make sure I get them the right way. 6 and then -2. And that'll be our answer. Okay, 29. So work out the value of 4, and then you've got a negative indice, -6 times 4 to the 9 over 4. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to evaluate the tops by using our first law of indices. We're going to add the indices. So we've got 4 minus 6. So -6 plus 9 is 3. So we've got 4 to the 3, and then we're dividing by 4, but it's 4 to the 1. Because we've got a fraction, we're dividing. So that's the same as 4 over 3 divided by 4 over 1. We use our second law, so we minus the indices. So we've got 3 minus 1 will be 2. So we've got 4 squared. Now we know 4 squared equals 16. So that's 16. And then this one, they're ending with a quite tricky one, I guess. Write down the exact value of cos 60. I'm going to show you a bit of a fancy way of doing this using some trig. But you can sort of memorize the values as well. So imagine a 2 by 2 by 2 triangle. We know that it'll be an equilateral triangle. So each angle will be 60. Then we can bisect our triangle. So we get a triangle that looks like, I'm going to do it down here for the purposes of space. We get a right angle triangle like this. So we get 2, we bisected it, so it's 1 there. And then this actually will be root 3 using Pythagoras, because we got 2 squared minus, so 2 on the hypotenuse squared minus 1 squared, which is 3. And then it'll be the root of 3 on this side. So you get 60 there, and we got 30 there. We're trying to find cos 60. If I remember, so if you can remember SOHCAHTOA, I like to write it like that. We're thinking about this cos 60, so we need this. Cos 60 is equal to our adjacent over our hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse. Now in this case, our adjacent angle to the 60 is the 1, and then our hypotenuse will be 2. So cos 60 equals a half. So 31, the probability tree diagram shows the probabilities that Shayla will work at home or will work in the office on 2 days next week. Work out the probability that Shayla will work at home on Monday and work in the office on Friday. So again, probability questions, you've got to work out what they're actually asking. Work at home on Monday and work at the office on Fridays. You can see these add to 1. And then all of these will add to 1 as well. So what we do is we take the probability of one and times the probability of the other. So the probability you should work at home on Monday is this, so it's 0.2. At the office on Friday is 0.3. So it's this route that we're looking for. Home on Monday, office. I'll draw the route out. So you've got 1, you've got this. And we've got to multiply. So we're going to do 0.2 times 0.3. and that will give us our answer of 0.06. And that's it. We've reached the end of the paper. Hope you found that useful. If you want to watch another Foundation Maths walkthrough, click here, and don't forget to like and subscribe.